There we go. This is a regular question, and this is the antiderivative of 5x cubed plus 3. The antiderivative of 1 to 5 of 5x to the third plus 3 dx. All right, take a minute and work on that one. So what's the antiderivative of 5x cubed? Five x to the fourth over 4 plus 3x evaluated at 1 and 5. 5 parentheses to the fourth over 4 plus 3 times parentheses minus 5 parentheses to the fourth over 4 plus 3 times parentheses. And I'm going to put a 5 here and a 5 here and a 1 here and a 1 here.
I have a question about the last question you just did. I don't understand the graph.
Well, I didn't either when I saw it. Hold on. Give me a second. It looks like this one is a little bit more. You have to look at the volumes. I meant the area. You see that the area here and this area, okay, this area. I'm looking to see the difference between the two. It might be the numbering.
Why is it shaded at the bottom and then at the top?
Say again?
Why is it shaded at the bottom and the top?
Because the area can be below the actual. Remember, we graphed this on the calculator the other day, and don't it look something like this? Okay, and they're going from 1/3 to 3. So that's 1/3, and this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one is going, looks like 1/3 to 3. Okay, I really don't see much difference between set. It looks like this one goes up less than this one. This one goes up to what? 6.5. This one only goes up to 4.5. So you would see that on a calculator. That's the difference between the two. This area is a little bit smaller. It's smaller than this area. This area is bigger. So that's why I picked this one, because this one was smaller. This one starts at 1 and goes to 1, 2, 3, or 4. This one starts at 1 and goes to 4, so that can't be it, because it's supposed to go from 1 to 5. I'm sorry, from 1/3 to 3. So that one's not it. This one goes from 0 to 1, 2, 3. So that one's not it. So it has to be either the first or the second one. And the reason I picked the second one, because this area is small. This area right here is a small area. Does everybody understand that? So if it's going to cancel out, because on the previous problem, what did the area come out to be?
0.
0. So that means that the negative area cancels out the positive area. So these two have to be equal. So since this is a small area, I picked the smaller of the two here to cancel it out. And that was just luck that it was this one, because it is a smaller area than this one. Does everybody see that? This one goes up to 4.5 or 6.5. This one goes up to 7.5. So that one has a bigger area than this one. So that's why I picked B. Does that help?
That helps.
Okay. Okay. Now let's go back to, there we go. And let me take out all this stuff that I just got through writing. Okay, and now we get 5 to the 4th power. Oh gosh. Well, 5 to the 3rd power is 125. So 5 to the 4th power would be 125 times 5, which is 625. Somebody help me out.
That's correct.
Okay, so 5 times 625 over 4. I know we could probably reduce, but I'm not really worried about that right now. This is 3 times 5 plus 15. 15 times 4 is 60 over 4. Somebody help me out there.
That's
I don't
correct.
know. I'm trying to do common denominators. Minus 5 times, okay, that 4 right there, that's not a 4, so it's supposed to be a 1. Okay, 5 times 1, let me erase that. It's going to mess me up. 5 times 4 is 20, so that'd be 20 over 4 plus 12 over 4. Okay. 5
It
times
should just be 5 over
625 is 3,100.
Why'd you-
3,125. Y'all check me. Did somebody say something? Is this
Yeah, it should-
3,125?
That is 3125, but the 5 over 4 should just be 5 over 4.
Oh, I don't know where I got that 20 from. Where did I get that 20? I did it again. How do I get 5 times 1 is 20? Oh, there was a 4 right here, wasn't there? You got to watch me on stuff like that. My brain is weird. Thank you. Y'all supposed to console me and make me feel better about myself and say, Hubert, your brain's not weird. You're just doing all these calculations in your head. You're awesome. That's what you're supposed to say, but y'all suck. So
You're not weird. You're just
No, forget it.
it's just
Forget it
your head.
now.
You're awesome.
Forget it. Forget it now. Y'all gonna fail. 5 fourths plus 12 fourths is what? 17 fourths? And 3125 plus 60 is 3185. And 3185 minus 17, I have no idea. So I'll just put 3185 minus 17 over 4, and that's going to be your answer.
It's 3168 over 4, and it equates to 792.
Thank you. I just love people that interact. So 792. So let's take our handy dandy cursor and put 792 in there. And do we feel good about ourselves? Yes, we do. All right, let's get to another rewrite. There's one. I like to put rewrites on the test. I'll just go ahead and tell you that right now. And we hadn't got to the more complicated ones. We're going to get to those in just a second. This one says 4 to 1, 1 to 4, whatever you want to say, of 8x plus the square root of x. Antiderivative from 1 to 4 of 8x plus the square root of x dx. Give you a couple of minutes. Miss Rowland, do y'all have a storm down there?
Yes, sir, it's awful.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a rain here, but y'all must be getting more than we are.
Yeah, it knocked out my power for like 10 to 15 minutes, so.
Let's see what dang old radar says. Dang old having a hurricane. Dang old Greenville's going to be affected.
Gotta go buy the bread and milk.
Yeah, so it's all about Greenville. The sun revolves around Greenville. Having a hurricane in New Orleans is going to affect Greenville. Actually, I believe no, it's not the remnants, because the remnants of that hurricane is going up through Arkansas and Missouri. So I don't think that's the remnants. It may be. I don't know. There's a lot of popcorn clouds. I was trying to look up. Oh, yeah. Down around Columbia, y'all getting several. And you're right there at Newberry, aren't you, Miss Rowland?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all got a big red cloud there.
Yeah.
Dang old Prosperity and Clinton. Dang old Prosperity. Well, hopefully you'll make it, but if not, watch the news to see how thunderstorm and Prosperity is affecting Greenville. So, all right, we got about 20 minutes left, right? 20, 25 minutes?
25 minutes, 24 minutes left.
24 minutes, okay. Thank you. 24 minutes. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's see, that'd be 8x squared over 2 plus, this is x to the 1/2 power, so that's going to be x to the what? 1/2 plus 2/2 over 1/2 plus 2/2. And I'm just doing the long way right there just to make sure you know what's going on. Evaluated at 1 and 4, that's going to cancel to 4x squared plus, well, that's going to be x to the 3/2 over 3/2, which is 4x squared plus 2/3 x to the 2/3. That's the setup, evaluated at 1 and 4. Some of these homework questions are just going to ask you for the setup. I ain't seen one yet, but I've seen some in here that it gives you A, B, C, and D, and you just pick the setup. That's the setup. And I'm just going to do, and I'm going to change this back to a exponent over index. So that's the cube root of x squared, or yeah, the cube root of x squared. So 4x squared plus 2/3 the cube root of x squared, evaluated at 1 and 4, and that's going to be 4 parentheses squared plus 2/3 cube root of parentheses squared minus bracket 4 parentheses squared plus 2/3 times the cube root of parentheses squared. And of course 1 goes here and 4 goes here. And I'm going to make all that small. There it is. Okay, that's going to give me 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Plus, well, 4 to the 2nd power is 16. The 3rd root of 16 is going to be a mess, so we're going to put 2/3 times the 3rd root of 16, and we'll get back to that in just a minute, minus 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2/3, because you can't do anything with 1, much less take the cube root of it. Cube root of 1, square root of 1, square is 1, so cube root of 1 is 1, so it's not a big deal. But this is going to be a mess. 64 plus, maybe it'll get better, 2/3, and that's going to be 2 times 8, which is 2 times the cube root of, well, I just had it in my head, cube root of 2, right? Minus, I don't know why they wanted to stick that in there, but anyway, minus 12 thirds plus 2 thirds. Well, that's going to be 64 plus 4 thirds, cube root of 2, minus 14 thirds. Four thirds is 1 and 1/3, which is 1.33. So that's going to be 64 plus 1.33. Somebody give me the cube root of 2. Raise 2 to the 1/3 power. Tell me what you get. Just round it to 2 decimal places for me. They want the exact, so they want the radical. So I don't know how you're going to write that as a radical without, well, no. Somebody, what's 14 divided by 3? What is that? They go 4 and 2/3, 4.67, 4 and 2/3.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is 2 raised to the 1/3 power? Y'all not know how to do that? That's all right, I'll do it. Y'all scared me if you can't give me that answer. You're in a calculus class. 2 raised to the parentheses 1 divided by 3 power. Thank y'all. 1.26. I know they want a parenthesis, but I mean not a parenthesis, a radical, but now somebody multiply that by 1.33, and we're going to subtract, what I say that was, 2.67. So 1.26 times 1.33.
It's 1.68.
Thank you. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and add that to 64. Y'all check me. 65.68. 65.68 minus 2.67. Now that cancels. 65 minus 2 is what? 63? Now, I don't care what you get there. You can get 63.5, 63. I don't care about that. If you get anywhere around 63, I'm very happy with that. They probably want the radical, which would be 64 plus or minus 2.67 would be minus 61.33, right? 61.33 plus 1.33 cube root of 2 or something like that. That's probably what they're going to have. But I'm going to put 63. I know it's wrong, but numerically it's not far off. This would be a good setup question. This is not a good question. Let's see what they got. They got 100. They put everything, oh gosh, they put everything over a what? Over the common denominator. Somebody take 194 and divide it by 3. What do you get?
64.
Okay, I'll take that. I did all this in my head, so. Do y'all get the point?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You got to get a common denominator, which I did have a common denominator right here. So you got to change 64 into a common denominator, which would be, that's where you get the big number, because that'd be 3 times 64, which is 192, right? So that's 192 over 3. That's where you get your big number right there, 192 over 3. Okay, that's a good setup question. If I wanted to ask that question on a test, I would like for you to have an A, B, or C, or D, and just pick the setup right here. But
Can you do question 12?
question 12, what do you mean?
Question 12 of what you're doing right now, of homework 5.3.
You want me to do question 12?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. I'm glad you asked that because this is a rewrite. How is it a rewrite? Well, you can't write. How do you rewrite a square? How do you rewrite a square? What is 80% of calculus?
Algebra.
So what are you going to do here?
Rewrite it.
You're going to rewrite it using what? Shortcut number 1, Hubert. A plus B quantity squared. I would change that T, 1 over T to T to the negative 1 to make life easier for you. But this is, I'm glad you asked this question because this is a test question and it is a question that I wanted to go over today. So this is a good question. Sorry you're impatient, but yeah, thank you. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. Who asked this question?
Yabi.
Missy Yabi, good job. You're still going to fail. All right, so 1 to 2 of 1t plus t to the negative 1 raised to the what? Second power dt. So that's going to be t squared plus 2 times t to the negative 1, 2ab, plus t to the negative 1 raised to the second power.
So how do
Using
you
shortcut number 1.
Oh.
Okay, so now I gotta use, now the reason I wrote it out was because what sticks in your side? That negative 1 exponent. So should you, this is your two options. Should you say, oh, I know everything, so I'm just going to do the negative 1 in my head? Or should you say, well, negative 1 exponent is a thorn in anybody's side. I better take the extra steps and make sure I don't make a careless mistake. I would go with the latter. Okay?
Did you multiply those two together? The t plus t negative 1 to itself?
Right here,
I'm
yeah.
not sure what.
2ab, what is short? I'll tell you what. Recite to me shortcut number 1 right quick. Why do you have a problem with calculus? You don't know your algebra. What's shortcut number? What here? This is how you should be saying it. A plus B quantity squared is equal to A squared plus 2AB plus what? B squared. Boom. You should know it. Not fussing. I'm just telling you. You should know it. So what's A? What's B? 2AB. Yes, you multiply. And whoever asked that question, I'm not fussing at you, but I get this question a lot. When we have to rewrite with a shortcut, people start to blow fuses. The reason they're blowing fuses, not in this class, but in the past, the reason students blow fuses is they forget their algebra. They forget the shortcuts. Or they're not fluent. So now I get that the antiderivative from 1 to 2 of t squared. Now what? Well, that's a 1. What happens here? What's 1 minus 1? 2t to the what? 0 plus, what's this? T to the what? Negative 2. Now, can you combine like, well, that's a plus, so you can't do that. And it's a -2, so you can't do anything there. So now we have to take the antiderivative of everything. And of course, what is the derivative of 2t, or 2t to the plus 1? So I just did that to make sure you see that. So I'm going to make this small and move it. And now the antiderivative of t squared is t to the third over 3 plus 2t to the 1 over 1. And I'm putting that extra step in there because for some reason y'all have a conniption right in here with the 2t, to the 0. And what y'all do, this is what students do, they just take the 2 out, they just think it goes to 0. I don't know why, but it doesn't. Plus t to the what? What's -2 plus 1? Evaluated at 1 and 2. Now, I would simplify a little bit more before I started, and I would make this a negative. So I'm going to write t to the third over 3 plus 2t minus this right here, this negative right here turns this into a minus, and that t to the 1 comes downstairs, so it's 1 over t. So I'm going to put minus 1 over t, so you can see that I rewrote that one. And now I'm ready. Evaluated at 1 and 2. So parentheses to the third over 3 plus 2 times parentheses minus 1 over parentheses minus parentheses cubed over 3 plus 2 times parentheses minus 1 over parentheses. And of course a 2 goes here and a 1 goes here. All right, what's 2 to the third power? 8. So I get 8 over 3 plus 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 1/2. Minus 1/3 plus 2 over 1 minus 1 over 1. And now I have to get a common denominator of what? 6. So I'm going to take my handy dandy blue marker. 3 will go into 6 2 times. 2 times 8 is what? 16. 1 will go into 6 6 times 4 is 24. 2 will go into 6 3 times. 3 will go into 6 2 times. 1 will go into 6. 6 times 2 is 12. And 1 will go into 6 6 times. 6 times 1 is 6. Now, if I can read my own writing, 16 plus 24 is dang old 42 or 40. Which one is it? 40? Minus 3 is 37. Somebody check my math there. 37 over 6 minus 2 plus 12 is 14. 14 minus 6 is 8. 8 over 6. And 37 minus 8, 29. That should be your answer. Good question, Miss Iabi. That's one I wanted to go over, and that is a good test question, so you did good.
Thank you.
So let's do a nerd. We got a little bit of time. No, we don't. I'm going to let y'all go. Plus, we got Monday and Tuesday, and that gives y'all the weekend to work on this 5.3 homework. I would not, let's check to see if this one's right. I feel good about myself. Okay, so y'all go home, work on this 5.3 homework. And if you want to try the 5.5, I would not suggest it. I would wait till Monday and send in your questions for Monday also. And I'll see y'all Monday. Capiche? Yeah, Hubert, we'll see you Monday. Good class.
Yeah, bye. Have a good weekend.